Okay, so our Easter reflection for Maundy Thursday in Holy Week is John 18, 1 to 14. Perhaps you'd like to have that bit of the Bible open, and I'm going to start by reading it. When he had finished praying, Jesus left with his disciples and crossed the Kidron Valley. On the other side there was a garden, and he and his disciples went into it. Now Judas, who betrayed him, knew the place because Jesus had often met there with his disciples. So Judas came to the garden, guiding a detachment of soldiers and some officials from the chief priests and the Pharisees. They were carrying torches and lanterns and weapons. Jesus, knowing all that was going to happen to him, went out and asked them, "Who is it you want?" "Jesus of Nazareth," they replied. "I am he," Jesus said. And Judas the traitor was standing there with them. When Jesus said, "I am he," they drew back and fell to the ground. Again he asked them, "Who is it that you want?" "Jesus of Nazareth," they said. Jesus answered, "I told you that I am he. If you are looking for me, then let these men go." This happened so that the words he had spoken would be fulfilled. "I have not lost one of those you gave me." Then Simon Peter, who had a sword, drew it and struck the high priest's servant, cutting off his right ear. The servant's name was Malchus. Jesus commanded Peter, "Put your sword away. Shall I not drink the cup the Father has given me?" Then the detachment of soldiers, with its commander and the Jewish officials, arrested Jesus. They bound him and brought him first to Annas, who was the father-in-law of Caiaphas, the high priest that year. Caiaphas was the one who had advised the Jewish leaders that it would be good if one man died for the people. So this is the word of the Lord. Did you know that there is a wanted notice for Jesus of Nazareth? There's an ancient document which is in existence today, and it's called the Munich Talmud. It's a copy. Dates back to about the 12th century, and it's a copy of the records of the court cases of the Sanhedrin, or the religious police of Jesus' day. And in this document there is a reference to none other than Jesus of Nazareth, or in Aramaic, Yeshua HaNotzre. And the document reads this: Yeshua HaNotzre will go out to be stoned for sorcery and misleading and enticing Israel to idolatry. Anyone who knows anything in his defense must come and declare concerning him. The document also states that on the eve of Passover, as no one had come to his defense, he was hung or crucified. If that's all we had to go on about Jesus of Nazareth, we might conclude that this Jesus of Nazareth must have been some pretty bad guy. Thankfully, there is so much more about the life of Jesus of Nazareth. Here in John 18, we have an account of how he was arrested. And there are two characters which I find very interesting. The first is one you might know well, the hot-headed Peter, the same Peter who's followed Jesus from the beginning. And by his own words, he is ready to die for the cause. But he's certainly not going to go down without a fight. And so when Jesus is arrested, he's armed and he's ready. And he attacks the high priest's servant Malchus. And the second character is the servant Malchus. Now, whenever the gospel writers give us names of people, they often do this, they mention people's names, they are seeking to authenticate what they're writing. It's as if they're saying, hey, if you don't believe us, go and ask Malchus. And then you might ask, well, where would we find Malchus to ask him? Well, no doubt in one of these early Jerusalem churches. But on this night, Malchus thought he was doing God's will by helping to arrest this notorious criminal, Jesus of Nazareth. And Peter thought he was doing God's will by chopping off Malchus's ear. Both of them believed they were in the right. Both of them stood on either side of the religious barrier, intent on doing serious harm to the other. Over this Easter weekend, both of them were about to discover that they were wrong. Malchus was wrong because Jesus of Nazareth was not a notorious criminal. He was innocent. and he willingly gives himself up for arrest. Peter was wrong for believing that the Son of God came to overthrow power with a fight. From the dawn of that very first Easter Sunday, the world would come to know that real power is not the strong exerting force over the weak. No, that's boring. That's what we see all over the world at the moment. No, real power, real deep spiritual power, the power that is above all powers, is when the most powerful chooses to give up his power for the sake of the weak. It would be amazing to think that at some point in the years that followed, Peter and Malchus might have stood side by side in the same church, praising God as brothers. Happy Easter. God bless.